Bridgette, and welcome to this podcast. I'm happy to have you here. Tell us about yourself.
Thanks so much for inviting me. Well, I am working in digital marketing for the past, 12 years now. I can't believe that number keeps just going higher. At some point, I've got to stop saying for how long I've been in the industry, giving away my age. But yeah, I have done many different things. I've worked in email and mobile. Most recently, I owned an agency for the past 5.5 years that focus on e-com, especially in CPG. And I just closed out in the fall. And so I'm kind of embarking on a new journey here, working with a few clients individually, but also very interested in data right now. Very interested in just kind of the direction the industry is going as technology advances and data is doing the opposite of advancing. And, yeah, that's kind of about me. I'm a huge traveler. I've lived outside the States for 7 years now, I think. I've lived in Europe. I've been in South America for a few years. So I'm an adventurer by heart. So those two things can sum up my life, what I do for work and what I do adventuring, traveling around.
So you are moving, but still working like full-time in the digital marketing.
Yeah. And, whenever I first started this, I truly was moving around. I was actually working for a French company in Paris for a while. And then when I left the company in 2016, I started my agency, and I literally took a backpack and was traveling around Europe, and then went over to South America and was traveling with backpack. But after about a year of that, I was like, oh my God, this is so unsustainable. So I started doing more what people are calling like slow matting now, or like, slow traveling and staying in a place for, 6 months, a year. Even I was in Buenos Aires 2 years. I've been in Brazil now for almost a year. So it's kind of putting down some mini roots and, enjoying a place on a deeper level, I guess. So that helps. I'm not moving around every couple of weeks while I'm trying to work. So that's nice.
How do you manage to balance between your personal life, like adventure and discovering new places where you like visit, and work?
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of a mutant, and I just love working so much that honestly, whenever I'm in a place, I wouldn't say that I fully enjoy it to the standard that most people would. I don't go to all the tourist attractions. I'm not like here in Rio, I'm not on the beach every weekend and every, day enjoying it. But I am here enjoying another culture. And, every week or so I do something. Last night I went to a big football game in Maracanã, which was really cool. Some of the big Brazilian teams. But, I do work an abnormal amount of time, which I personally enjoy. The Latins don't understand me, but that's okay. And yeah, so I think for me, like I found the right balance for me, but I wouldn't say that when somebody pictures in their mind really enjoying traveling, and that's not really probably what I do most of the time. So yeah.
I see. That's well, in that case, you can manage that kind of lifestyle, because I don't know how
Yeah.
nomads do that. Like, you're sitting on the beach with a
Yeah.
laptop.
I think that they don't work as much as I do, but I kind of do have this empire builder mentality. I have this like, I really, for some reason, I was born with this desire to like build an empire. So I'm, if I'm making 6 figures, I'm like, what's the next step? Whereas I think most digital nomads are like 6 figures is a goal, and then I can just sit back and enjoy my life. I'm kind of like, but what am I building here? What am I? So yeah. WeWork is a huge staple for me, working and traveling around. I try to always be by WeWork. That's like I go into WeWork. It's the same setup, same decoration, same coffee, same everything. And that does create a lot of stability for me, I found, as I, travel to different places and work.
Yeah, that's a great solution for like nomads out there. That's amazing that they still keep the same system, so you're like familiar with everything when you go.
And now they have a membership where it's only like $150 a month, but I literally sign in to any WeWork in the world and my card just works to get into the building. And so I just sign in for the day. I was in New York a couple of weeks ago. I used it. I'm here now. I'm using it. Like, it doesn't matter. I was in Sao Paulo a few weeks ago, so my card works everywhere. It's just so nice. That's
Technology.
something that did not exist when I started this, and that it really makes a difference.
Oh yeah, that's amazing that it's so comfortable right now.
Yeah.
So if you're traveling so much, like the major part of your business is definitely online, or do you think that the offline world still makes some kind of impact on your work?
Yeah. So I would say that if we're talking about me physically working, it's primarily online. I actually miss the in-person aspect. I'm going to a conference in a couple of weeks in Philadelphia. Hopefully, I'm going to actually physically meet some people. But as far as my clients go, online is still a huge, huge part of their business. I work with mostly in food and bev and beauty. And both of these verticals, retail or brick and mortar, if you will, is a huge part of their businesses. Sometimes, even 90% brick and mortar still. So, if you're a food and bev brand in the US, you're going to try to be in Whole Foods and Target and Walmart and what have you. If you're a beauty brand, it's going to be Sephora, Ulta, Target, etc. So that's been interesting. I just naturally fell into these two verticals, and I don't really have any education or experience on the brand side with retail, but I've learned it over the years, just from clients needing to support both online or DTC and also their retail presence.
Okay, okay. Well, that sounds nice. That's like you can just work online and it doesn't matter where from. So right
Mm-hmm.
now, since you've been traveling so much, do you feel some kind of change from COVID, for example? Like, do you think some change, things shifted online, for that matter?
Yeah, I think that that's I think that it's changed things in many, many, many ways. Um, I was just talking to somebody actually before this call. And one of the things that I think it's doing is kind of decentralizing the workforce in general, which the way that I was talking about it, there's many aspects of that, but one of the aspects for digital marketers is there are a lot of smart people around the world, and the US has kind of owned, the e-com hub, the most money flowing through, like lots and lots of money flowing through that industry in the US. And now my partner is Colombian, for example, and he's now working in the industry, and he doesn't charge as much as, a US person would charge for his services, but he's really good. And his brother's the same, and many of our friends here. So I'm seeing this shift, and especially for South America, we've had India for a long time as a interesting place to kind of outsource things, but the time zone is difficult. And so now I think that more and more places are coming into the market, more and more markets coming into the US market, I should say. And that's kind of decentralizing things. And I think it will kind of shake it up quite a bit, from just a pricing and a value and, all of those things. And I think that happened with COVID because people started being more comfortable with working online with people, meeting people online, working with them for years. It's funny because my company actually was remote before the pandemic, and it was a source of friction with clients. They were like, oh, but how do you manage that, and how do you control quality, and then after, it's like, oh, cool, us too. So that's been an interesting aspect of kind of decentralizing the workforce. I see some other trends, even just LinkedIn. That's how you and I connected. um, you know Fascinating place, LinkedIn right now. I'm making connections like I would at a trade show or in an office building or at an event in New York City. I feel those same feelings of connection for the first time in several years on LinkedIn online. So I think that, humans, we want to connect, and we find ways to do that. And right now that's digital. So that's another thing that's been really interesting, to see just kind of naturally evolving. But there's so many more, but those are the two that, come to mind. top of mind.
That's all sounds like super positive, but I think there is also like a little bit disappointed part, like about the competition. I know that you've been saying that one of the reasons why you closed, left your company because of the high competition level. So do you think that
Yeah.
COVID actually was kind of impacting that as well, or did you feel it even before then?
Yeah, it was a huge impact there. And yeah, talking about kind of the negative sides, I'm kind of a realist. I'll tell a quick story. I remember years ago I was in New York and I saw Jay-Z dropped an album, and I think it was a Samsung phone that basically he said, if you have this, he had done a deal with them, and it's like, if you have this phone, then it's downloaded for free automatically from this date. And I remember thinking, Jay-Z is playing the game that, all these people are ripping off musicians and downloading their music for free. And Jay-Z flipped that, made a bunch of money with this deal, I'm sure, from this phone company. And also it's like, and you get my album for free, you don't have to pay for it anyways. So I remember thinking, like, that's like taking a market shift with technology and then playing it to your advantage. And what I see happen, with the pandemic, yes, it wasn't just the pandemic, it was the economy during this time as well. It surged. Salaries are surging, inflation's surging, and for a small player like me, I had guys poaching my clients for double their salaries, and my average salary was almost $80,000 a month. Average, I was paying employees, and so as a bootstrap business, that was super tough. I also saw the mentality of people, like the pandemic really shook people up mentally, and I think everyone kind of went on this life journey that was like, wait, but what do I actually want to be doing here? Like, what is my life about, And so I saw this with employees. They just weren't as interested and hustling. And for a startup, you kind of need hustlers. You need people that are going to put the hours in, put the work in, and care about it probably more than their paycheck actually represents. That's the honest to God truth. So that was really tough for me. And I think at the time that was kind of merging with my own conflict I had, which is owning another digital marketing agency. In general, there are very low barriers to entry for creating a digital marketing agency. Anyone can do it. Anybody can get on LinkedIn or send emails and get some clients. On top of that, now you have all of these lead gen agencies that are also trying to get agency clients as their client and then go out and get clients for them. So clients, essentially, like brands, are getting bombarded with so many messages from so many more digital agencies than there were 5 years ago whenever I started this business. And that was also tough for me to swallow, with all of the problems that I was facing in the business, and then to see so much friction to get one client. And I just thought, this isn't what I want to spend my life doing, fighting for business in a red ocean for something that is kind of losing value, to be quite honest, due to the amount of people offering the service. And then at the same time, the technology advancing so much on these platforms. We are not in a day and age where, you have to test like 500 variations of everything. It's like, no, you just set some general campaigns live. If your messaging strong, your creative strong, and you're gathering the right data on the back end, the algorithm does the work, and I'm talking about Google, I'm talking about Facebook, and then now TikTok is really advancing. So anyways, all of this kind of came into a vortex. And yes, some of that was pandemic factors. But for me, I kind of see it a little bit even higher level, and it's macro market movement from a variety of things. And, I don't want to keep trying to, play a game that's not going to work in the end. And so I took a step back to kind of be like, all right, so where's this market going? Super competitive. Where's the value? Like, where is something where I can send out 10 messages and at least one person is very interested in hearing back? So, did the market get saturated because of the pandemic? I don't know. I think it definitely accelerated that, but I don't think that was the only factor for me in deciding to kind of close the agency and then look at things a little bit differently. So sorry, that's lots of blah blahing, but there's many things interconnected there for me with the agency and competition and all that.
So what actually like you took away from this experience right now? Like what are you going to do different with your new agency company?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the first thing is if I'm going to work with clients, which it is a good cash flow business, I can make mid 4 figures per month retainer per client and, do excellent work myself. It's a little bit trading time for money because I don't want to scale another agency, but I enjoy the work. So that was the first thing. Owning the agency, I didn't enjoy the work of, if you're not doing the work, you're just managing a bunch of people, trying to maintain a bunch of stuff. That's not interesting to me. So that's the first thing, that I'm going to be doing the work, really enjoying it. I won't be able to scale it because it's too reliant upon me, but that's fun for me. So that's cool. And the other side is I'm not really sure. I'm exploring some things with potential data platform, data visualization. There's so many out there, but currently the hole that I see in the industry is that there's none that are showing brands how to visualize their data. It's kind of like, look at this cool platform. You could do anything. You could do anything. You could do this. You could do this. You could do this. But it's not saying like, hey, for your business, here's the things that here's how you should visualize your data for your business specific to paid media. So that's one kind of thing I'm toying with. And then the other side is building an audience. And, I have a lot of knowledge now. I've been kind of traveling around the globe. I've bought millions and millions of dollars of ads and worked with some really big brands. And I haven't really made myself known, so to speak. And I think that, maybe that was kind of a mistake on some level. But for now, that's one of my big goals, is to kind of come out and help people and get involved. And who knows what will come from that. But all of these things are kind of in this vortex of like, I'm really enjoying this. I have a lot of value, I think, to bring, but I'm not really sure yet still exactly how that value will connect into my empire building opportunity, if you will, which of course I'm always looking for. So, yeah.
So right now you're using mostly LinkedIn, or do you explore other platforms, to just get yourself out there and make yourself known?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the two, I am doing LinkedIn, which I hope to evolve. And I just started a TikTok account. I really believe in TikTok. I think it's one of the future platforms that, it will only continue to grow, I think, at this point. I didn't feel that way about Snapchat. I didn't feel that way about Pinterest. I really see something different in TikTok. And so the tough thing is that I'm in Brazil right now, and TikTok thinks that I'm Portuguese. I speak Portuguese, everyone. So it's only showing my stuff to that. So I got to fix that. But that's one thing. And then I don't know. I'm kind of having these conversations on podcasts and such. So ultimately, I would love to get some longer form trainings and such, maybe on YouTube. But yeah, for now, LinkedIn, very business focused. And then TikTok, the real reason I'm doing that is because of the reach right now. You get incredible reach there that you just don't get on like a LinkedIn, for example.
What about paid ads? Do you use any paid ads to promote yourself?
No, not currently, which is funny, right? Because that's what I do. But yeah, I don't do any paid ads. I think for my business, I don't know. I can't imagine looking for a paid ad agency and being on Instagram while I'm having my coffee and be like, oh, here's an agency. It feels like a weird flow to me. So I think sharing the content, I hope to kind of organically connect with people that, might have needs. But yeah, the paid ad flow to me it's always felt a little janky for getting clients, for an agency. I don't know.
Yeah, you can actually like promote your content. Whatever you already created, you can just a little bit boost it out.
Yeah.
And promote
As
it.
I kind of get more advanced with the content, I think for sure if there's pieces that do well, I will put some paid spend behind that. But I feel like I'm very far from that. I'm very early on in just the testing phase. And ultimately I want to be doing video. I'm working with a business coach right now and kind of really diving into my core we're actually working on this like diagram, my core 3 things I offer to people, and kind of building my whole content strategy still. And then yeah, but that's an awesome idea. And I do think that I will incorporate some of that. I've heard people saying like $5 a day, you find you get something that really hits with organically, and then you just boost it for like $5 a day, and it can exponentially grow organic.
Yeah, that can work, but you need to find that specific piece that you need to promote. I actually believe that right now organic content is really the key to get like some quality leads. I do not believe that if you're going to promote yourself like directly as an ad agency, that those leads are going to be qualified, like because everyone is looking for something cheap, I think, online, but it's hard to get well, good quality and someone who is actually maybe looking at your content and seeing the value and seeing that you're actually sharing your knowledge and you have a lot of experience. Like he needs to see a few different pieces of content to understand that it's something worth paying for.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I think as well. I have that goal. I have the 2 goals, and the one is to connect with people and to help others, because I truly enjoy that. I love when young business owners are like asking me how to get started and stuff. That's so fun. But the other is to kind of show like, hey, I really am different. Like with paid media, I know it all sounds the same, and especially for somebody who doesn't really know paid media, which is why they would hire somebody. But I really am different. So I hope to portray that with the videos for sure. And the energy, people work with you. You can't feel energy usually in a quick sales pitch on LinkedIn. But I kind of believe in that, that especially as we're decentralizing things for big corporations, big agencies, I think that there's a lot of freelancers out there, and people should work with a freelancer that they feel good energy with, and that they have a connection with their communication style, and all of those things. So that's another way to kind of get people to self-identify, like, oh yeah, Bridgette's energy, I would enjoy working with somebody like her. Other people are like, wow, Bridgette has way too much energy, she stresses me out, I can't. So we got to have people to like self-identify with this.
Yeah, I agree. So right now, like, what is going to be your number one advice to someone who's just starting with digital marketing, like freelancing? He has experience, but he just wants to get online and work for himself or herself.
I think the advice that it's not maybe the sexiest advice, but the advice I've just given. Both my partner and his brother have recently gotten into the industry. My partner about 2 years ago, but his brother just started a few months back. And you have to know what your unique aspect is. And it doesn't actually have to be any, like, oh, I have this special technique that can get you more ROAS, but it can be price. And I think that when you're first building up, you need some case studies. You need some people that you can use as references. That's a huge thing. Offer to use a reference, and that's a really nice way to get in the door with people. But you've got to get one. And so there's going to be somebody who will take a chance on you, even if it's just for price. And that's kind of the way that that my partner's brother has gotten started. And already he has 2 really, really good clients with good relationships. He's upped his fees now. And now he can really go out and say like, hey, I'm working with these 2 clients. Here's what we've done. Here are the results. They can act as references for me. I would love to work with you. That's just a different ballgame. But I think in the very beginning, you've got to compete with something. Often it's price and somebody just taking a chance on you.
Yeah, that's logical. And then you always can scale up from there if you do a good job. Yeah, that's true. Okay, I have a last question for you. Since you love doing the work, what is your favorite paid media platform?
I have to say that it's still Facebook, but I think that's because I started. I didn't really start with Facebook actually. I started with Google, but when I really mastered a platform, it was Facebook. I felt like I mastered Facebook first, and it's very dynamic. and it's not easy to always understand what's happening with the algorithm, but in the end, it is logical. And that was so fascinating for me to finally understand that it wasn't random. I think that TikTok is probably very similar, but I've only spent a few $100,000 on the platform. So that's very new compared to my millions on like Facebook and Google. And Google to me is so logical that I'm kind of like, all right, this is sort of boring. It's too logical. It's just like there's no, I don't know. I find it super, super, super logical. Performance Max is probably changing this. Performance Max is moving Google into more of a Facebook kind of world where you don't really know what's happening. You put your link in there, you're creative, and then boom, it goes. And you have to try to defer what's happening by results and such. So it's probably about to get way more interesting, slash it already has. But yeah, I still gravitate toward my original gangster, my OG Facebook platform, for those reasons, I think.
What do you think then about their new business manager?
Yeah, well, I actually, all of these things are changing constantly. Facebook is testing their platform, over 400 versions of their platform at any one time across the world. So at times, with my employers, we would pull up side by side computers of in any part of the interface, and it would be different. And it's like, what is going on? But Facebook is always testing. So to me, it's one more test. It's fine.
Well, I think it was great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rita.